Welcome everyone to chair yoga. We'll begin by sitting comfortably in the chair, just pushing those hips back to the back so you can relax your back against the back of the chair. Hands are resting in the lap and feet extended a little bit in front of you just to take any tension out of the knees. And then go ahead and close the eyes or just drop the gaze. As we take a few moments to turn the attention inward, shutting out the busyness and chaos of the day. And taking a moment to notice how your body feels. Especially noting any areas of tension or tightness. And then taking 2 deep cleansing breaths. So take a nice big inhale through the nose and exhale it all out by blowing or sighing it out. And one more nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then soften the muscles of the face. Relax the muscles of the neck and the shoulders. And then turn the attention to the breath. Notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. And then we'll begin a nice, even breathing. Inhaling and exhaling to a count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And just continue this nice, even breathing. If at any time it makes you lightheaded or dizzy, just go back to your own normal breathing pattern. And then we also set an intention to help remind us why we are here. So that may be a benefit you would like to receive, or just an uplifting or a positive thought or a phrase. So think of an intention you'd like to have for your practice today. And then with your next inhale, go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. And we'll go ahead and begin our warm-up by turning our heads to look out over that right shoulder. And coming back to center and turning to look out over the left. And back to center, dropping the chin to the chest. And then lifting the chin up towards the ceiling and jutting that lower jaw out. And coming back to center and dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. And back to center and left ear to left shoulder. And back to center. Extending the hands out in front. Open and close the fingers. And then some wrist circles. And reverse. And then bringing the hands alongside the body, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, sweep the arms up, bring the palms together. Exhale, as you extend the elbows out, bringing the hands in front of the chest. And then very gently, just pressing those palms together. Just doing a little wrist flexion here. Good. And then we're going to release the fingers down towards the floor so the back of the hands are together. Now be careful here. And again, just a little bit of pressure. Good. And then bring the fingers back, pointing up so the palms are together. And then we're going to extend the hands over to the right. Come back to center, and then to the left. Good. And back to center. And then release the hands down. Inhale. Whoops. Try not to hit your plant. As you bring your hands back up. And again, hands to the heart. And then once more. So release. Inhale. Sweep them up. And exhale to the heart. Good. And then releasing your hands, we're going to do some finger taps. So we'll start with the index finger tapping the thumb, and then move on down, middle, ring, pinky, and then reverse it. Start with your pinky and back up. Good. Just a couple of times here. Loosen up those fingers. Good. And then bring those arms down, shake it out. And resting the hands in the lap, then we'll do some shrugs. And the next time you pick those shoulders up, roll them to the back. Good. Bringing the shoulders down to neutral. We're going to do a little movement here that involves an internal and external rotation of the shoulders. So I'm going to move up to about the midpoint of my chair here just to give myself some room to move. So you may want to do that. And then bring your arms out in front, turn the palms up like you're holding a tray. Now, you're going to keep the palms facing up. So here's our movement. We're going to take those hands out to the side. Here's our external rotation. Now, begin lifting the hands. Keep your palms facing up. And then turn your hands. So now the fingertips are facing each other, but you still have your palms like you're pressing the ceiling up. And then you're going to sweep those arms back down, palms stay up the whole time. And then bring the hands alongside the body. Here's your internal rotation. And see if you can extend the arms behind you. Again, my palms stay up the whole time. Good. Come back alongside the body and back out to the front. So that's the movement. If you felt any discomfort or pain, obviously just eliminate whatever that movement is or modify it for yourself. All right, here we go. We're going to start out to the side. As you begin to lift, turn the palms, fingertips touch, palms facing up. Good. And then sweep them back down. And then we'll come to the inside, alongside the body. Keep the palms facing up as you extend those arms back. Good. And then come back through. Let's try it once more. Good. And down. Come to the front. And extending back. Good. And then back to the front. Good. Just relax it out. Wiggle it out a little bit. And then we're going to bring our hands to the right side. You can clasp your hands. And then we're going to sweep them over to the left shoulder. So imagine you have a pail of water. You're picking it up and throwing it over your shoulder. Good. And again, just a nice, easy movement here. Working on warming up the upper body and the core a little bit too. Good. All right, let's switch sides. So we'll start down here, and you're going to go over the right shoulder. Good. Two more. Good. And then just relax those arms out again if you want to wiggle it out a little bit. And then placing the hands on the lap, maybe scooting back a little bit to support your thighs, we'll extend the right leg and flex and point the foot. And then some ankle circles. And reverse. Good, and then switch legs. So left leg, same thing, point and flex. And circles. And reverse. Good, and then bring the left leg down. Pick up your right foot just a couple of inches, or maybe 2 at the most, off the floor, just so you can extend and bend. Just warming up the knee and that thigh. Good, and then bring that right foot back down, switch legs, same thing on the left. Good. Bring that left leg in. Now, pick that right foot up, extend it, and reach your right fingers forward, just without rounding forward, just holding that extension for a second. Good. And then switch. So reaching, so you're tightening up that top of the thigh. Try it once more on the right. Good, and left. Good, and then bringing the feet back down to the floor and coming into a little march. Good, and then bring the left foot down And then we're just going to bring the soles of the feet together. Widen your feet a little bit because, excuse me, and then we'll bring our knees back together. So what looks like that Charleston, I think, like this. Or it's actually called just a butterfly. So just opening and closing the knees, rolling onto the outside of the ankle, or the outside of the foot, rather. Good. All right. And coming back to center, sitting up nice and tall, bring the right arm alongside the body. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, and exhale, bend to the right. Good. Releasing back to center, switch arms, inhale, and exhale to the left. Good. Release back to center, and then coming into a twist, left hand on the right knee. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and then exhale, turn and look to the right. Good. Release back to center and switch. So right hand on the left knee, inhale, and exhale, look to the left. Good. And then release back to center, placing the hands on the thighs as we do a spinal warm-up called cat-cow. Eliminate the cat part, which is the rounding of the spine if you do have osteoporosis or osteopenia. Just keep the spine in neutral. All right, well, starting cow. So with an inhale, coming forward and lifting the chest, arching the spine. And then with the exhale, either just remaining in neutral or rounding the back, dropping the chin to the chest. And then rolling back into cow. Exhale, neutral or cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, neutral or cat. Good. Inhale, cow. And exhale, neutral or cat. Good. And then go ahead and bring the spine back to neutral. And we're going to do a little warm up before we come up to standing. So it's a movement, 4 different movements that we'll put to the breath. So we'll go through the first round at a slower pace, and then we'll pick it up. All right, so sitting up nice and tall, bring those arms down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. With your exhale, pick up the right knee, bring the hands around and just kind of hug that knee in a little bit. Then exhale, bring that foot down to the floor. And then inhale, step that right foot wide. Exhale, back to center. Then inhale, lengthen the spine, bring your arms alongside the body behind you. And then exhale, you're going to bend from the hip and bring your torso about 45 degrees. It's called this airplane pose. Then with the inhale, sweep the arms up next to your ears and lift your heels for seated chair pose. Good. And then we'll exhale, bring the arms down. Inhale, sweep them all the way back up. Exhale to the heart. All right, so those are the 4 movements. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit, and we'll start with the left leg. So here we go. Inhale. Exhale. Just hug the knee a little bit. Exhale down. Inhale, wide. Exhale, center. Inhale, lengthen, bring those arms behind you, and exhale, bringing the chest forward a little bit. And then inhale, sweep the arms up. This time, lift your toes. Good. Exhale, bring those arms down, sweep the arms all the way up, and exhale to the heart. Here we go, right into the right side. Inhale. Exhale. Good. As you bring that foot down, inhale out to the side. Exhale, center. Inhale. Exhale, forward. Inhale, chair, lift the heels. Exhale, bring the arms down, sweep them around. And exhale to the heart. Onto the left, inhale. Exhale. Good. And then inhale to the side. Exhale, center. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, coming forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up, lift the toes. Good. Exhale, bring the arms down. Inhale, up, and exhale to the heart. Once more each side. Inhale. Exhale. Or that was an inhale then, to pick your knee up. Exhale down. Inhale to the side. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, coming forward. Inhale, come into chair, lift the heels. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale to the heart. Onto the left. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Oh, that was an inhale. I don't know why I keep screwing that up. Anyway, bring that foot down. Inhale to the left. Exhale. Inhale, extend those arms. Exhale, coming forward. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms up, lift your toes. Good. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms up and to the heart. Good. All right, let's go ahead and come on up to standing. So we shift the weight into those feet. Come on up. Grab a drink. And I'm going to put my chair to the side. So today we're going to practice chair pose using a little section of wall. So scout around and see where you can find. You only need about a shoulder width section of wall. So we'll get to that in a moment. I'll let you figure out where you're going to go. Hopefully it's close by. In the meantime, we're going to do a couple more warm-up poses. So we're going to start in Tadasana. So having those feet parallel with one another, legs about hip-width apart, finding the four corners of the feet, lifting up through the arches. Tighten the front of the thighs. Lift and tighten the abdominals. Focus on the spine, lengthening from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. Pick the shoulders up. Roll them down the back. The chest is slightly lifted. Good. As you gaze forward, come back to that nice, even breathing. And just take a few breaths here. This is mountain pose, so feeling strong and steady, grounded. Good. And then with the next inhale, go ahead and sweep your arms up. Take your right index finger and thumb and grab the back of the left wrist. And then with your next inhale, lengthen up and then exhale, bend to the right. Keep that left shoulder open to only go as far as need be before you start kind of caving forward. We don't want that. Inhale back to center. Switch hands and exhale as you bend to the left. Good. Inhale back to center. Let's try that once more on each side. Exhale right. Inhale center and exhale left. Good. Coming back to center, release those arms down. Do a couple little shoulder rolls or shrugs. Wiggle it out. And then we're going to, like we did in our warm-up with our tray movement, we're going to keep the elbows alongside the body, turn the palms up just like you're holding that tray. Keep your knees soft. Take a nice big inhale, and with your exhale, turn to the right. And then back to center. Good. And exhale left. Good. And center. And right. So you're twisting from the waist. Center, but your knees are going with you. That way you don't pull anything there. Good. Let's try it once more. Right. Good. And left. Good. All right. Go ahead and relax it out. I'm going to just move my chair over here because I'm going to use the wall right here. So hopefully you all found just a little section of wall. So we're going to come into chair pose. We warmed up with it in the chair. Now we're going to use the wall. And I want you to see if having a little support helps you to hold the pose and have a little better alignment with it. So you're going to walk over to the wall, and you want to stand close enough that you can push your hips or your sacrum against the wall. And then you're going to step your feet a little bit in front of you, because as you bend your knees to come into the pose, you want to make sure your knees are not going past your toes. So that's why we walk our feet forward a little bit. So I have my hips resting against the wall, and my feet are out a little bit in front of me. All right, so take a nice big inhale and bring those arms up, not all the way like towards the wall, a little bit in front of you. And then with your exhale, bend your knees and see if you can slide down the wall a little bit. Now, check those knees. If you need to extend your feet a little bit more, then come up, walk your feet out. So as you bend the knees, have your knees behind your toes and see if you can keep them in line with the toes. By having the support on your hips, it should be easier to do that than when you're just standing in the middle of the room. Good. Let's go ahead and inhale. Come on up. Rest it out. This is a great way for you to build leg strength. You've probably heard of a wall sit. It's the same kind of thing. A wall sit, though, we tend to put our upper back against the wall too. This one, because we have our arms extended, I am flexing a little bit from my hip, bringing my torso forward. So just my rear end is against the wall. All right, let's try it once more. Here we go. Inhale and exhale, coming down. Now, if that's uncomfortable on your shoulders, just keep your arms extended out in front of you. Good. Check those knees. Keep them in line with the toes. Continue to breathe. Good. And then go ahead and come on up. Just rest it out. Kind of shake those legs a little bit. You can come away from the wall. And then we'll come back over to behind our chair and come into downward facing dog. So holding on to the back of the chair, walking those feet out so that your arms are extended, keeping a little bend in the knee as you drop the chest and the head down towards the floor. And then focusing on that low back. As long as you can keep that low back straight, which usually bending your knees helps there. If you are a little more flexible and want to extend the legs, go ahead and do that as long as you're not rounding through that low back. And just take a few breaths here. And then to come out of the pose, just bend the knees, walk in towards the chair as you lift the torso. Good. All right, I'm going to put the chair just to the side there for a moment. So now we're going to come into triangle pose. So we'll want to come into our wider stance. So you want to have your feet wider than your hips. If you're feeling a little unstable here, feel free to go behind your chair so you can hold on to the chair. But you want to work as strongly but as safely as you can. All right, now we're going to take this right foot and we're going to turn it out to 90 degrees, lining up the right heel to the instep of the left foot. Now remember, triangle pose, we keep both legs straight. Inhale, bring those arms up to shoulder height. And with your exhale, you're going to push the weight into that left hip and lean to the right as far as you can. Tighten the front of that right thigh. And then bring your right hand down. So if you're here, wherever that is then, maybe it's your thigh. Maybe you can bend a little bit, that'll be the shin. Maybe you can bring it down to the ankle. And then extending that left arm up. If the hamstrings are really tight, then keep a little bend in that right knee. Good, and focus on that left shoulder. You want to keep it open. If this is too much, even if you're here and you have your arm here, and that's too much, you can always put that left hand on your hip. Good, and keep breathing. Good. And then with your inhale, press into your feet as you lift the torso. Exhale, bring the arms down, and then we're going to try it on this side. So we'll turn that right foot in, turn the left foot out. Good. Then from the waist up, you're going to turn and face the front. Bring the arms up, take a nice big inhale. With the exhale, shift the weight into the right hip. Lean to the left as far as you can. And then bring that left hand down. Again, might be your thigh, shin, ankle. If you can, extending the right arm up. If not, just put it on your hip. Good. And then focus on the hip. So try not to push that right hip forward. Imagine you're between two panes of glass. So you would want to have your shoulders and hips in the same line. Good, and keep breathing. Good, and then lift the torso up. Exhale, go ahead and bring the arms down. Turn that left foot forward, and then just a little heel toe, or step the feet together. And then you will need the chair. I'm going to bring this on this side. And we're going to come into tree pose, but then we're going to do what's called moving tree. So then we're also going to test our balance. So have the chair nearby. Let's put it on our left side. So we'll start with bending the right knee. We have all the weight in the left leg. Turning the knee out on that diagonal, and then you can keep your toes on the floor or place the foot to the outside of the left calf. Tighten those abdominals, lengthen up through the spine. Start by bringing the hands to prayer. Find your gazing point. If you're okay here, then extending the arms up as your branches or holding on, same thing. Good, and continue to breathe. Good. And then release the arms down. Now, if you did have your toes on the floor, See if you can pick your foot up just to the outside of the calf. So here's our moving tree. You're going to extend that right foot out, shift the weight to the right foot. Now, push off from that right foot and see if you can come back to putting the foot on the calf, that right foot. So it's kind of a lunge and back. The key is when you push off, getting that right amount of force. Oops, that wasn't enough. You can get your foot back. If it's too much, then you're going to go to the left. So just try that a couple of times. See if you can do it without holding on to the chair. Find your gazing point. Good. Ooh, that wasn't enough. All right. Rest it out, walk it out, and we'll try it on the other side. All right, let's shift the weight over to the right. So we'll come into tree first off. So bending the left knee, again, resting the left foot on the right ankle, or picking it up, placing it to the outside of the calf. Tightening the abdominals, lengthening up. Find your gazing point. You're always welcome to stay here too. You don't have to extend the arms. Keep a hand on the chair if you need to. Good, and continue to breathe. Good, and then with the exhale, go ahead and release the arms. Okay, oops. Don't release your leg yet. Come back. All right, so put that left foot on the outside of the right calf. We're going to do our moving tree now on the left. Here we go. It really helps if you find that gazing point and just keep your eye on that. Oops, that wasn't enough. Good. So you want that right amount of momentum. Good. Right again. I've hit the squeaky part of my floor. I don't know if you heard that or not. It's very squeaky. Well, all right. Good. All right, release it, walk it out. And then let's go ahead and have a seat. Grab a drink on your way down. Always have your water nearby. Okay. Turn this way. So we're going to do a little bit of core work in our seated position. So go ahead and come up towards the edge of the chair. And we're going to be hinging from the hip. We're going to do a back extension. So we'll use our back muscles as we go back, and then the abdominal muscles to pull ourselves back up. All right, so we need a nice straight back. So inhale to lengthen, just bringing the arms out in front. With your exhale, bend from the hip. So imagine you have a yardstick taped on your back. Just lean back towards the back of the chair, and then inhale, pull yourself back up. Good. Exhale back. Inhale up. Good. So when you lean back, remember you're not rolling that low back. You're just hinging from your hip. Good. Let's do a couple more. Good. Last one. Good. And then go ahead and release it out. Since you're at the edge of your chair, we're going to, I'm just going to turn so you can see me. We're going to now turn to the right. So step that right foot wide and then swivel your hips So you're now facing to the right. Move your hips up to the edge of the chair, maybe back a little bit so that you can extend that left leg. Wiggle your left foot a little bit so that you can extend out and really stretch through the front of that left thigh. And then I usually just put my hands on my right thigh to help support the torso. You can hold on to the seat of the chair or the back of the chair. That gives you a little more support. Good, and just continue to breathe. And then we'll put a little movement in here. We'll inhale, bring the left arm just at shoulder height. And then with your exhale, reach through those fingertips. And then exhale, lean back a little bit. And then inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Good. And exhale back. You should really be feeling that stretch. All right, release that left arm. Hold on to the chair as you sweep that left foot forward. Actually bring it up to meet the right. Still stay facing to the right. Now work yourself towards the middle of the chair. And we're going to come into a chair twist. So inhale to lengthen the spine. And then with the exhale, begin to turn to the right or towards the back of the chair. If you would like to hold on to the back of the chair, go ahead and do that. You just don't want to force the twist. You just want to have a nice deep twist, but not force it. Good. Keep breathing. Good, and then release back to facing the right, and then we'll sweep those legs around and try it on the other side. So left leg faces left, turn your hips, again, coming up to the edge of the chair, and then pushing those hips back so that you can drop the right knee down and then extend the right foot. You feel a nice stretch. Good. Keep the torso lifted. Just take a breath or two. And then we'll do the same movement on this side. So right arm extends forward. And then as you inhale, come forward. And then exhale, just leaning back a little bit. You're going to feel this stretch deepen. Good. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And then coming back to center, hold on to the chair so you can sweep that left or right foot forward to meet the left. And then adjust yourself in the chair. So now you're still facing left. We'll inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, turn towards the back of the chair or to the left, looking out over that left shoulder. Good, and then releasing the twist, go ahead and turn in the chair so now you're facing forward. And then we'll come into a hamstring stretch. So make sure you're at the edge of the chair. Just keep the left knee bent and extend the right leg, heels on the floor, and toes and knee are pointing up. And then we'll come back to that hip hinge. So again, keeping the low back straight, just bringing the chest forward a little bit so you feel a nice stretch in the back of the thigh. And taking a few breaths here. Good, and then go ahead and lift the torso. Slide that right foot back. We'll try it again on the left. Good. Inhale and exhale, coming forward. Good, and then go ahead and lift the torso, slide that left foot back, sitting about midway in the chair. Then we're going to come into a stretch for this right hip. If this is a little too severe for you, then I want you just to cross on the ankles and open up that right knee. Otherwise, we're going to take the right leg. As you go to cross it over the left, leave a little space here between the thighs, and then you're going to hold on to, clasp your hands, hold on to that knee, and then gently pull that knee towards the left shoulder. So you can see I'm doing this internal rotation in that hip, but a little stretch at the same time. If you've had a hip replacement, this is probably going to be too much of an internal rotation. That's why I had you just do this to stretch it out. Good. So we're just stretching through here. A lot of it is that IT band, which tends to get tight. It's mostly fascia. So this is a nice stretch for that. Good. All right. Release that right leg. Let's try it on the other side. Again, if you need to, then just a gentle external rotation will stretch out through that hip if you've had a hip replacement, or you have an IT problem where this is going to be too much of a stretch. Otherwise, you're going to cross like my calf is to the outside of my right thigh. So I've got a space here between my thighs. And I just clasp my hands, hold on to the top of the shin, and then gently pull that leg. So I've given myself room to see how my leg can move here. And I'm pulling the knee towards my right shoulder. A little internal rotation here. Good. My back stays straight, so I'm not, rounding forward. Good. And then release the left leg. Go ahead and uncross it. As you uncross, work your way to the edge of the chair, widen the legs, and then we'll come into our last stretch. This is called Malasana. So we'll place the forearms against the inner thighs. Inhale to lengthen. And now we're going to do this pelvic tilt forward. So again, not from the waist, but from the hip. Just bring the chest forward a little bit. Press into the forearms, which will press into the inner thighs till you feel a nice stretch. Good, and then continue to breathe. Make sure your toes are pointing out. Remember how we lined up our knees with our toes. Good, and then with the inhale, go ahead and lift the torso. Just walk those feet back in, and then a little hip walk. Now to the back of the chair, coming back into our pose of relaxation. So that nice comfortable position, resting the back against the back of the chair. And go ahead and close the eyes. So we'll take a few moments to rest in Savasana. Turning the attention back to the breath. Notice the inhale And notice the exhale. With your next inhale, let the abdomen rise first, then the chest, filling the lungs all the way up to the collarbones. And with the exhale, let the collarbones fall first, then the chest, then the abdomen, drawing the navel to the spine. And just taking a few of these nice deep breaths. Focusing on the physical body, relax all the muscles from the feet all the way up to the crown of the head. Release any tension or tightness. And then focus on the mind. Release any thoughts, worries, or anxieties. And if these try to come back in, just acknowledge them and release them. Turning the attention back to the breath. Again, notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. Allow yourself just a few moments to completely let go. Begin to deepen your breath. then start moving your fingers and toes, and then the wrists and the ankles. And slowly bending one knee and then the other. And keeping the body relaxed and the eyes closed for just another moment. Focus on the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice. And then taking one more deep cleansing breath. So take a nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.